Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to the Iona Athletics Spotlight interview. I'm your host, Ian Sachs, and today I'm joined by Nick Adams, senior on the Iona rowing team. Nick, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Ian, for having me.
And now, Nick, you guys started your spring season this past weekend with a meet in which you hosted four teams. You hosted Robert Morris, Marist, and Fairfield. Just tell us a little bit about how that meet went for you and what you're looking forward to seeing from the team this season.
Sure. So we started off this season a little slow. Our boat wasn't the fastest it's been since the previous years. We had a couple people that were missing due to prior obligations, and me personally, I'm still recovering from a shoulder surgery, so boat was kind of slow. Came in last in the pieces. We have a lot of room for improvement, though, against Marist and Fairfield, our two biggest competitors in the MAC. I would say going into tomorrow's race against Fordham, that being a fast team, we hope to at least have some type of contention within part of the race with our varsity 8 and the pair that will be racing. And forward from that, we'll just hope to keep on improving with the training that we have from our coaches.
Now, Nick, you mentioned your two biggest rivals in Marist and Fairfield. How much of a barometer is it to start the spring season off with those top MAC competitors?
It's pretty tough, but it's also the teams that we see the most. Recently, we always race Fairfield. Marist kind of does their own thing, and then we'll meet them at the MAC and really see what they do, since Marist is a pretty fast team, winning the MAC conference for the past 3 years. But Fairfield's a team that we always try to beat, and we have for the past 3 years. So that's our main goal, is to beat Fairfield from here on out.
Now, seeing what those teams can do with in the first matchup of the season, what did you take away from the match, knowing that, okay, in order to beat these teams, compete against them, we're going to have to do X, Y, and Z?
As our coach stated after, we definitely need to improve more as a team individually. We definitely, being that we're kind of small in numbers this year from people quitting and other stuff that's happened, we do have a smaller number of people compared to Marist or Fairfield. Fairfield has 3 varsity 8s full of men. We only unfortunately have 1. So it's kind of hard to compete when they have so much inner competition when we only have 11. So we kind of have to really strive to be a group as you should be in rowing, and make sure that we really do compete within ourselves and make sure that we as a team do go faster from here.
So, Nick, you mentioned that the team only has 11 players. What's the typical size of a rowing team?
Typical size for the MAC conference, you would want to have a varsity 8, a novice 8, and a varsity 4. That's what we compete in the MAC. So that would be a total of 24 rowers and 3 coxswains. So it would be 27 people we would need. So we're kind of low in numbers.
So now, you mentioned the coxswain position.
Yes.
How different of a position is that from the rest of the people in the boat?
It's a completely different position. The coxswain is the person that you would say as, I guess, the quarterback of the team. That's the person that you want to be the person that's going to be motivating you throughout the whole piece. That's that person that is going to make everything happen within that boat. We're the people that pull, and that's the person that's directing. They're the ones that see what's going on while we can't, since we're facing the opposite direction, and they get to know what we need to do as far as a call. They're our coach on the water, essentially, when we're in a race, since the coach can't be there.
Now, you mentioned that a typical MAC team will have 3 coxswain. How many does the Iona team have?
We only have 1 at the moment, but others could be there depending on weight and size.
And now, how does one get that position? Is it kind of like a captain position where you rise up to that challenge, or you start out as a coxswain and you go right into it?
You typically start out as a coxswain because that's a position that's more of person that's a shorter person. You could see they have a lot of drive within the people. So typically a coxswain's around 5 foot, 5'2". You want them as light as possible because they're pretty much dead weight. They're not pulling anything. So we have to essentially pull them around. So the lightest person and the shortest person is always going to fit in the boat because essentially the seat is very small for them to sit in. So me personally being 6 foot, I can't really sit in that boat and really steer the boat in a coxswain seat. It's pretty small.
And Nick, you talked about how the Iona team only has 11 guys, and usually there are 3 different teams on a MAC team, you have your varsity 8, your varsity 4, and your novice.
Yeah,
8?
novice 8.
Novice 8. Now, what's the breakdown for the Iona team, given that you're so limited in numbers?
Well, considering limited numbers, we obviously can't get any more people because it's so late in the season, and I don't think anyone would be joining at this time. So I believe from here it's just more or less focusing on the varsity 8, and when we go into the bigger regattas like the Dadville Regatta in Philly, we'll break down to smaller boats like a lightweight 4 in our pair, which we really do go into Dadville's, have a strong contention with those, and last year the pair won the silver medal at Dadville, so that's what we do from here on out. Unfortunately, we probably won't be able to compete fully at the MAC, but we'll obviously go full strength in the varsity 8.
Nick, you've won several awards and been a part of several medal-winning teams here at Iona. How would you characterize your career so far?
It's been an unbelievable experience. Considering I've started here my freshman year rowing, not having any prior experience, it's been an unbelievable experience. Through here, I've made great friends, great strides through everything I've done within the school and the community of rowing, and winning those medals is something that you can't take back. It's something you always have and you'll always remember, and what you've done throughout those races, you might not remember every single bit, but you always remember those winning races.
Nick, you mentioned how you started out here at Iona with no rowing experience at all. What made you interested in joining the team?
What made me interested was when I came here for my first tour of the school, and they do the showing of the tank room, and it piqued my interest. I just looked at that thing and said, I really want to try this tank room. I don't know what was intriguing to me, but I said, that looks pretty cool. Now, little did I know that it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, but it was a great chance and opportunity that I still am doing.
Now, how difficult was it to begin rowing where, you go out on the water and you don't have any experience?
It's definitely tough the first couple days. You don't know what you're doing. It's a little challenging and it's a little frightening at the same time because you obviously don't want to go in the water, but that's something that obviously will happen if you flip. But it's definitely easy to learn and pick up if you really are dedicated to doing it, and the coaching staff is unbelievable in helping you learn the sport because this is one of the biggest walk-on collegiate sports that is going on throughout the country and the world.
Ian Sachs here on the Iona Athletics Spotlight interview. Today joined by rowing co-captain Nick Adams. And Nick, you've worked your way up from a walk-on all the way to captain now your senior year. What has that progression been like for you?
It's definitely been a long process, but I've always thought of me being in this position from my freshman year because I always wanted to instill some type of leadership to my fellow peers and my freshmen, because when I was on the team as a freshman, I looked up to my captains and said, I hope to be them one day and hope to help out the team in any way possible, and that's what I really tried to do throughout my 4 years here.
So now, what percentage of the team is walk-on players and what percentage is scholarship rowers?
Right now, I would say it's probably a mix of about 50-50. Usually it's a little bit more walk-on than it is experience because, unfortunately, we do not get full scholarship. We don't get scholarship money for rowing, but we do have some athletes that do come from high schools. Right now we have about 4 people on the team that experience from high school. One's from Philly, another's from Atlanta, one went to Iona Prep, and then the other one went to from Connecticut.
And Nick, having such a diverse group where not everyone grew up playing rowing and come from all different walks of life, how challenging has that been to get a cohesive team where in a sport in rowing where teamwork is really vital when you're on the water?
It's definitely at the beginning. You have to get used to each other. Everyone has a different responsibility, I guess you could say, and an atmosphere of what they've came from, so they have a different ability of doing things. So you definitely have to work with each other and fine-tune everything you do in the boat, because as you said, teamwork is the hugest thing in rowing. If everyone's not doing something together, the boat's not going to be together with itself.
So now, what are some of your responsibilities in the role of captain?
You want to mediate anything that's going on within the team. You help lead everyone. You'll help the coaches, considering our coaches work full-time outside of practice. So we really have to help whatever's going on campus. They'll email us about obligations they have, and if they can't email the coach, we'll talk to them, or you really do just things to help motivate the team, I guess you could say.
And Nick, you came in with no rowing experience, but you did play golf in high school. How are those two sports similar? They seem so different. Are there any similarities? And what skills did you take from your golfing experience that have helped you in rowing?
Golf and rowing are kind of completely different spectrums. I guess you could say just commitment to a sport, and obviously making sure that you stay throughout the whole time, and you obviously don't give up on something. So I'd say that's something I took from golf that you bring into rowing.
And certainly you've shown your dedication in that you've worked your way all the way up to captain, and you've even said that that's one of your biggest accomplishments here at Iona. And how would you say that being captain has helped you now as you prepare being a senior for the next phase of life after college?
I definitely say it helps you understand everything else that's going on around you. Considering I work 20 hours a week now at an internship that I have, it obviously is a little bit more stressful on my schoolwork and rowing. So really just trying to be the captain and trying to be positive with everything I do, even though I'm so stressed and doing everything I have to do with schoolwork and work. It obviously makes me realize, what, I'm here for the team. I'm here to help everyone else and see a direction so that they can follow through the later years.
And Nick, you are a finance major. Where do you see your career, and where do you want to take it?
Right now, I'm looking to go into grad school here at Iona and get an MBA in either finance or accounting. And I have a possibility to continue full-time at the internship I have at Legg Mason. So I'm looking forward to see what the future is at Legg Mason and go from there. So definitely something in the financial area. And considering Legg Mason is a mutual fund global asset management firm, definitely a lot of opportunities within the finance department there.
Now, one of the big things that Iona says to their incoming students is the proximity to New York City. How much have you taken advantage of that?
A lot. Obviously not as much as I would like to, considering I'm from Long Island, so I kind of just said, it's the city. The city's a city. It's not really a huge thing to me, but obviously at times if I want to go in, it's really easy. A 30-minute commute into the city on Metro North is nothing crazy to go into, and it's a great opportunity to just go, and if you need to do something for school as far as, my FPA class, I have to go in and visit the Met. It's going to be pretty simple. I just have to go in, go on the Metro North 30 minutes, go in and enjoy my time at the Met and write up my stuff.
Now, Nick, in the financial world, New York City seems like the capital of the world. But in terms of rowing, which is more of a rural sport and not really considered urban and with a big city, how much of a contrast has that been, and how difficult, or so to speak, difficult would you say that it has been trying to get on the water for rowing in such a populated area?
It obviously is a problem, being that it's a rural area and you have to be near the water, but being that we're actually so close to Long Island Sound here, our boathouse is only 3 miles away, and it's not that bad actually. We have our own private course that we go on that it's really dedicated to only rowers. It used to be the Olympic trials course in the 60s, so it was very well known in that time, and now it's a course we use and we share with the New York Athletic Club, which is very well known without the rowing community, and Pelham Community Rowing Association. So we really are it's populated, I guess you could say, with the other rowers at certain times, but we have a great time at 6:30 at night or 5:30 in the morning. You really don't have that many people out there, so you really get to enjoy the whole atmosphere of rowing, of the water by yourself out there.
Now, Nick, I take it that those are your practice times, 5:30 in the morning, 6:30 at night?
That's correct.
Now, how much of a challenge is it to have practice at such different times during the day?
It is kind of challenging. I must say, you have to get up and get used to it. Unfortunately, I am a morning person, so I kind of get up and I'm just ready to go for the day. But it is, it's a long day. I have to wake up at 4:40 if I'm going out at 5:30 in the morning. We have to get to the boathouse, get the oars down, get the boat down, warm up, and then you go to practice for an hour and a half, and then get off the water and either go to work all day or go to class all day. So it's kind of a long day, and then you have to go straight to practice after that. So, and then you have to go to sleep because you gotta get some sleep in you to get some rest. But it's definitely a challenge, but I've gotten used to it over the years of what we had to do to practice. Obviously, our practice hasn't been 2 days. It's not like that all the time. Obviously, our time restraint is restricted here and there. So we've just started ramping up our practices to the 2 days.
So now, what portion of the days are 2 days and what portion are just a single practice?
Typically, our winter training and our fall schedule is kind of limited, and we do less because we don't need that much time because our spring season's our biggest season for us. So we just started doing the 2 days 2 weeks ago. So that was when the restraint got removed from 8 hours to 20 hours a week. So typically it was from January to the end of February, we did about 8 hours a week, and then now we're back to 2 days.
So, Nick, as the spring season is progressing, you opened the season this past weekend, and now you're back in action tomorrow with Fordham. What do you see are going to be the keys to success first in the match against Fordham, and then more long-term the rest of the season?
I'd say our dedication. We're definitely going to be more dedicated within our group of people. We definitely saw that we need a big improvement to go back against Fairfield, coming in last place behind those 3 Fairfield 8s and Marist. So it was definitely, a little heartbreaking to see that we were that far behind, but that also is a big wake-up call for everyone in us. And, we need to drive and say, listen, if we're going to be in contention for the MAC and try to win a medal at the MAC conference, we need to really be motivated within ourselves. And I think that's what we got from last race on Saturday. So going into tomorrow, we definitely know Fordham's going to be a fast crew, but if we could stay with them at some point, it would be an unbelievable time.
Well, Nick, we wish you the best of luck both against Fordham and the rest of the season, going up against Marist and Fairfield and the rest of your schedule. Nick, thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Thank you very much for having me, Ian.
This is Jessie Ledoux, Miss International.